Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, it's Wednesday, it's my last day before I go back for my short week at work, and I don't have anything specific to do today, but I have a few little things I gotta wrap up. You may recall a couple days ago that I had a trailer hitch put on my car, and part of it wasn't available, didn't work right, so they had to order another one. Well, I'm gonna go in today to get that done. I also got a couple little wrap-up things to do in the yard, and you know what, we're just going to see what happens, so come along. Alright, so I'm done with the car place. They had the part in, it just quickly snapped into place. They were in and out in about 5 minutes, so we're on to my next place. Let's see what else I can do to get myself in trouble. Just as a follow-up to this little business that we saw that was on fire a couple weeks ago, looks like they're pretty much cleaned up. They've boarded up a couple of the doors that the fire department had to cut into. You can see that over there and there. That's just plywood they got covering up the holes, but there's actually people working in there, so hopefully whatever it was wasn't that big of a thing that it killed the business. It certainly appears that it isn't, so good for them. Alright, I'm at Home Depot, and I figure while I'm here I'm going to check out and see what the bracket and the ball hitch are going to cost for my new trailer. I don't think they're going to be that much, but I got to see if I can find one with a small enough mounting to fit onto my receptor. So let's see what we can find out. So it looks like I have two options depending on whether I need to either raise or lower the ball a little bit from the car or not. This one's a little less expensive, but this one's just kind of a straight through on that. This one here kind of raises or lowers it a couple of inches to keep the trailer level. So I guess I'll have to look at that and figure out what I'm going to require for my particular trailer. But they're $21.97 or $23.97 depending on which one I get. And then this here is the ball hitch. I need a 2-inch, which is that one right there. So that's $10.27. So good to know I'll be able to get this thing done for under 40 bucks. So, all right, we're ready to do this. All I need to do is get my bonus money. Now, from time to time, there are things that I have to do around here that just don't really make it on the vlog. It either seems redundant or out of place with whatever else it is I'm shooting that day. But this is one of those things. This is where the blueberries were planted, and I didn't think I did it, but apparently I punctured the PVC riser in there, and when I ran the sprinkler that first night after I put everything in here, next morning I came out and there was a big hole trenched out there. I thought some sort of animal got in there, and I started thinking, no, I punctured a sprinkler line and had to, and that was what happened. That was what washed all the dirt out of the hole. So I went and got another one of these. I couldn't quite find this thing. This thing's one of those bend it to whatever shape you need to be because it flexes on different angles and stuff like that. I just went with a couple of risers and a couple of right angle pieces and got the same result. I got the dirt back in there, but not very nicely at this point. I'm going to kind of get everything back in there pretty well, and I think we may have lost the blueberry plant too, because basically it blew everything out of the hole, including the plant. So we'll probably have to replace that one, but that's one of those things that happens every once in a while. You go in there when you don't know where the sprinkler lines are, you hit one, and then you have a geyser coming out of the ground. And I also noticed when I ran the sprinklers in this area that there are a couple of adjustments I have to make. One of the heads, I think that one over there, the piece of the PVC is too big, and the head doesn't pop up far enough to rise above the level of the PVC, so I'm going to have to cut a couple inches off of there. Maybe that one too. You know, that's just one of those adjustments you got to do from time to time. But I also discovered there's a head here that I didn't even know was here, and the only reason I figured it out is because when the sprinklers came on, the head popped out of this little hole here, and I could just barely see it sticking in out of there. So I didn't even know that one was there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that back. I've got another piece of PVC we'll put around that one, and we should be good to go. Alright, so we've installed a piece of PVC around this one now, dug it out and excavated it enough so you can kind of see in there. I'm going to have to see if the head pops up high enough to pop out of that hole. It may kind of have the same situation that this one over here had. This one shouldn't be any more of a problem now because I got the pipe about another inch and a half into the ground, so it's almost level now with the ground. It's actually digging into the topsoil that's underneath there, so hopefully that'll stay real well. I did the same thing with this one, kind of pushed this one in. This one, the head is already in pretty good shape, as is that one, so I didn't really mess with those. But we'll run the sprinklers again tonight, and we'll see what happens when that happens. One of the things I want to do, and I got to do it again, because when I first moved into the house, there's 12 different sprinkler zones in this yard, both the front yard and the backyard. And at one point, I went throughout the yard, ran every zone, and figured out where every head was that was running, so I would know which zone does what. Somehow I lost that sheet of paper, and I don't know where that is. I have not seen it in probably more than a year. So I think I'm going to probably just end up redoing that, making a new one. You may recall a while back I did some work on the electrical system here and traced out every outlet, every switch, everything back to the breaker box, and that's on a master document that I have right now. So if I need to turn out a particular outlet, I can now go to that master document, look at it, and say, okay, that's on this breaker. I'd maybe like to add the sprinklers to that same document, and then that'll just be kind of the everything document about the house. You may recall this bird bath that I picked up at the statuary place about a year ago, I think. It's been sitting here in the yard for a while, but the block that I placed it on, I discovered was settling a little bit, and the thing was starting to look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and so I was actually concerned that it was going to fall and break. So for the past month or so, I've actually had it taken apart, and you know, there aren't a whole lot of birds coming out here this time of year anyway. Well, they are actually starting to come now, but you know, when you're in December and January, the birds have pretty much all gone away. So I did level this thing out a little bit. I have it filled up with water, and I've already had some visitors at it, and I'll show you some of that footage here. Right now, this whole little planter section, with the exception of my Christmas tree, which is still doing fine, is pretty much dead. The only thing that really, I think, had any kind of a chance of surviving was the daisies that I planted there, and back there. And even they didn't do very well. I don't think they liked the deep freeze that we had here a few weeks ago. And of course, you know, that's what's left of the palm trees. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. So this whole area is going to get replanted again in a couple of months when we start getting to the point where we can count on good weather out here and not to kill everything off. And I'm going to plan a little better. You remember last year I tried putting bluebonnets in here, and I guess I should have known better. Bluebonnets are sun lovers, and there's way too many trees in this area to get a good amount of sunshine coming down. So we'll have to do stuff that'll do better in a low light environment. But we'll figure that out in the next couple months or so. Alright, so I've gone in and drawn in where all the sprinkler heads are. There are so many sprinkler heads in this yard, it's incredible. There's got to be like 50 or 60 of them in here. But then again, this is a pretty good size acreage, so it takes a lot of coverage to do that. That's why I need 12 zones on the timer to get that done. So got that done. I'm going to get that punched into the main database, so that's on the master drawing, and then everything will be in one place. Now, I was a little concerned when I put this new piece of PVC around here that basically what was going to happen is that the head wasn't going to pop up far enough and it was just going to fill the thing up with water. Well, actually it turns out the head pops up probably a good 10-12 inches off the ground, so that's not a problem, but it is leaking a little bit to the point where it fills up this thing, so I'm going to have to look at that. This one's kind of doing the same thing, that one to a lesser extent. But like I said, I was concerned that they weren't sticking far enough out of the ground. They are sticking far enough out of the ground, so that's not the problem. Alright, so I think that's all that I have for our wrapping up loose ends day. Hope you enjoyed this, found it mildly amusing, and we'll definitely check in next time. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.